So I wanted to talk to y'all about about why I wasn't why I didn't stream. I think I haven't streamed the last like I think it's been 2 days or so. It's been periodic here. It's been a lot, man. It's been definitely a lot on my mind here. I'm not trying to be the you know, the drama center and all that. I do want to clarify that for y'all here, but I feel like I want to kind of clear myself in the regard that, like, why haven't I been streaming? Why have I been having trouble like coming live consistently and things like that, right? That's kind of like why I want y'all to know I'm not trying to be negligent of being a streamer or content creator. It's been a really tough time. I've been getting some pretty bad sleep. I've been like kind of, you know, on Twitter, distraught, reading all the disgusting shit I've been seeing, as well as, like, honestly, I've been calling people, you know, I've been calling friends and checking up on them and seeing how they're doing and trying to, like, you know, trying to get myself out of the rut I was in or have been in several times here, to like get back in a more positive mood to want to stream, as well as kind of like talk about these things here, you know, kind of like, you know, get back in there, that mental loop and all that, you know. So so with that in mind here, let's go ahead and see what we got here. So this is going to be I have here, there are 3 parts here. We have the updates concerning some notable big figures, that all of which I know about here. And this is not just to say that this is all like that anyone here is automatically guilty. Just more like this is what's been going on. It's like I haven't brought up any of this in about 4 days here, so there's a lot of stuff. And whenever I bring things up here, it's because I usually have read through all of this, and, you know, and in one way or another it affected me mentally. So okay, I'll try to keep this. I don't want to be here like forever here, because there's like a lot to go over. But so you may recall here that Zero made 2 statements before. Statement 1 was like kind of like showing that he was on the side of the allies and bringing up the people who had been canceled so far in the Smash community, and how he was like he was kind of like you know, bringing up like reasons of implications of doubt in the merit of certain people's characters, because it was like D1 and Senpai and I think somebody else who had already been outed as like problematic up to this point. So he just kind of had a statement about that and about them, and kind of wanted to be included in that conversation. Then comparatively though, his statement 2 was responding to the accusations of, you know, talking to a 14-year-old girl on Skype and asking her to masturbate with ice cubes. Yeah, it was pretty cringe. But the he included like a lot of details about the situation, like was like really specific on certain things, but it still wasn't like coming clean, nor did it really address any of the accusations that are being put there. So from that came the mega statement, which I think I have right here. The mega statement that came from Jisu. It was about Zero, Katie, and Sky, which we'll go back to a little bit later. I'm starting with just a random order I have it right now here. But Zero made a 3rd statement, which was the one where I have to come clean. And the 3rd statement ultimately breaks down that he admits to everything. You know, that he I'm sorry. Now the 3rd statement came before the Jisu super statement came. So it's like statement 2 happened, and then like randomly like 6 to 8 hours later this happens, and this one admits to everything. Like, yeah, okay, I will address those accusations. Yes, yes, that girl was real. Yes, I did those things and asked her to do those things. I'm sorry. I'm bad. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a break from making content, and I impose that I ban myself from Smash events forever, because I don't want to be a harm to the community. Kind of like a self-imposed thing. And that was really about it. However, so that happened. This happened like actually like right after I went offline 4 days ago. So keep that in mind. We'll go ahead and go over here. We'll skip over to the Jisu one. the again, if you, and I'll link all this here, that way you can check them out if you want to. I do encourage you to perhaps read everything here. I'm just giving you a recap of all the things I've consumed, because I have read a lot, and then I will and then I may give my insight into certain things relative to the people I knew, relative to the things I know, relative to kind of having you all understand like why I am where I am right now mentally, and where I've been like, I just haven't really had the energy to be able to stream because it's been such a difficult weekend time for me, you know. So the next thing here is a Jisu statement. Jisu's statement is a 65-page Google document that has a bunch of stuff, tons of citation receipts over the manipulation that Zero had done. Ultimately, and I'm keeping it really short here, ultimately that Sky Williams is a lying, manipulative asshole, in her words, and that Zero also is a lying, manipulative person who also it ultimately admitted here that or I'm sorry, that was exposed in this, that having there was actually a second victim who also was underage and also was Skype called and also asked to masturbate with ice cubes. So all those things kind of came into play, and there was more than one person. He even tried to deceive the second person, thinking that the by keeping the name anonymous, by keeping the name anonymous and the post, that he would be able to communicate with the second victim and have the second victim think that the first victim was actually talking about her. So that way the second one wouldn't come forward, and he would apologize privately and be able to save face, do the self-imposed ban, and be able to kind of like just chill out for a little bit, but not lose the entire empire, so to speak. But Jisu exposed all that stuff. So that's I do really encourage you to honestly read it, because there's kind of there's a lot to unpack on that one. There's a lot going on here. Again, it's 65 pages long. It's very thorough. I would say it would take you roughly maybe 40 minutes to read everything, but it does contain a lot of stuff. So this is what kind of like put a nail in the coffin over like that. And I hate to even describe it that, because it pains me to even like think that this is where things are right now, but this is where things are currently. So I'll come back to this though. I probably didn't need to explain more about this one here, but that happened. Also noteworthy here is that we have a 2019 December thread, and this is Dread Fury is a old mod of Zero's who created a twit longer that contains a lot of pretty damning insight into like the kind of person Zero's behind the scenes, ultimately suggesting that Zero doesn't really value people and more uses anyone for the resource they provide to him and then disposes of them. So it's like there's a couple of like sus things, like, you know, Zero's acquirement of popularity and power may have came from the fact that like you know, that anyone who can, like, I'm trying to think here, like what one beef, for example, here was the fact that you may recall back here that there was a one of Zero's like top donators would donate like an obscene amount of money daily, somewhere between like $100 to $500 daily, along with a crap ton of gifted subs. And it was like an unhealthy amount of money. And the affection that was provided by Zero reaffirmed to that person to continue to contribute and all that. It was a lot. It was a lot. And people in the community were concerned that this person was probably not in the best mental state, and or maybe harming themselves by contributing so much to Zero. And Dread Fury had said, okay, I gotta remember her name here. Dread Fury had said that you know, that he runs a business, and that if ever that scenario happened where that person was in harm financially, he would just refund the money. Which, I mean, you know, kind of is an enabling, kind of a nonchalant attitude to have about something that's so concerning, I guess I would say. That's probably the biggest thing I saw as a call out there, which I do recall that definitely being a thing. I didn't know that context though, that person was doing, that person was gifting and contributing that much. But yeah. So you have that right there. There's also more. I mean, there was like a big like essentially the last part I'll think about this one here is that somebody outed Zero anonymously about having dirt on him, and um from there he unmodded all of his mods because he didn't know which mod was trying to troll him with that. And pretty much, I don't know, something about how he handled that by unmodding everyone abruptly was kind of like, I guess, I don't want to say sus, because I mean, you don't want to enable trolls here, but it's like something about Dreadfree said something about that that kind of rubbed him the wrong way, and how it was handled was really, really not good, I suppose. But I do encourage you to read their statement more often. Oh, sorry. Read their statement. So there's that right there. Next we have again, I'm just kind of well, no, this was from 2019, but this resurfaced recently as of the Zero comment. I have to come clean. So then we have additional DMs that an anonymous person came forward to Princess Hyrule about more stuff about D1. This is not the initial claim from Katie Dominate or the, in my opinion, poor apology, or the MVD DMs that kind of revealed that D1 was only sorry he got caught, not really sorry about doing it, shit like that. So here's an anonymous girl came forward to Princess Hyrule saying that like D1 specifically used the conversation of luring a girl up to his hotel room at some venue or whatever, and wanted to discuss the safety of Smash women as like a lure to like reaffirm that he's safe, when ultimately tried to like get the girl a drink to have, I guess, sex or whatever or something like that. So again, I encourage you to reread this one here too, because I'm kind of recalling, because I don't want to move on because there's like a lot to cover here. So yeah, that's yeah, it's kind of dirty there. So that's that. Yeah, so that was something new there. Keep in mind, D1 still hasn't said anything since then, but I mean, I'm sure at this point now it's kind of like hard for him, and I do worry that he's going to be in a really unfortunate spot for a while here. But I can reaffirm you that he is around family, and he's safe. He's not gonna, there's no like, when I last checked, there's no threat of self-harm, so there is at least that. But yeah, he's definitely not, he's there, I guess we'll say that much anyway. Next here we have an unfortunate one, which was the fact that Mewtwo King was there was a rumor from years ago, this might be like a 2011 rumor or so, that allegedly Mewtwo King masturbated on a girl while she was asleep. This was always a rumor. What's really important here is that this was always a rumor and there was no actual accuser, but Twitter court was trying to go out there and get wild, and he came clean. He came clean that he never did this, and then explained why he can't do this, or why it's not even physically possible. I'm not here to spread that, honestly. I will tell you that he has a video there for you, and that I feel for him. Me and Jason have been friends for a very long time. I will tell you all again here. Jason was the one who reached out to me initially in 2013, in January 2013, to help raise money for getting Melee into Evo. So I always appreciate Jason for giving me the opportunity to show my dedication and passion to the Smash community. And it's really unfortunate that there was some unfortunate spectrums, I would say toxic spectrums, of like cancellation attempted here, because there was no actual accuser. This was just a rumor that had no base, and it had so much momentum over the years here that he felt like he had to address it, and it's something he really did not want to do. So, but he cleared himself, and I would say shame on the trolls in the community for even forcing him to be in such an uncomfortable position. I don't want to share, though I will share the negative of that, but Jason is a great person, maybe sometimes socially oblivious, but always good in intention. And so if you want to catch the video, I'll take the link there. But yeah, that's the important parts relevant to what you need to know here, that he comprehensively negated the accusation entirely here. So So yeah, so there's that right there. Next we have okay, so if y'all don't know who Sky Williams is, we're gonna get to Sky in a little bit here, but I thought this was a pretty telling one here that actually wouldn't surprise me. Sky Williams' house was never safe for minors or women. I stayed there twice when I was 16 and was repeatedly offered alcohol by adult men, and Sky told me multiple times in my face that he would refuse to learn my name because I am a woman. Yeah, this is yeah, there's a lot going on here, so we'll you can go in a thread hop in there if you want to here, but yeah, we'll come back to we'll come back to Sky Williams. I have a section on that one there. Moving on here. Oh, maybe we will here. Actually, we got another one here. So Mr. R did a paste a tweet longer on Sky's house, Guitaro's Zero Mexico trips. He kind of brings up small things about all this right here. Noteworthy from this is that he says that Mr. R says that Zero was always a compulsive liar and ultimately fibbed about an incident where Masahiro Sakurai met everyone at the Smash Invitational, and Zero's telling of the story makes Zero look good and makes Mr. R look inconsiderate when it was a culture difference. But this small lie was done in a way to help like Zero look good in a situation that wasn't necessary to even like have his name cleared of anything obscene. Ultimately, it's, again, it reinforces here that like compulsive lying is the whole point. Like Zero lied about a lot of small things when they all stayed together at the Sky Mansion, including small things like who left this dirty dish and whose pizza box is being left out right now, and just kind of like a slob or whatever. Habitual fibber and liar. Mexico trips bring some more context here that generally when it came to D1 and the boys going to Mexico, they would very frequently, they would get flown out sometimes on Mexican Smash dollars and only do the absolute minimum of like commentating the matches or whatever they're going to be present for, and then going out to Mexico to like, you know, go clubbing and see girls. And allegedly it was pretty lucrative because a lot of them were lucrative to their POV here, lucrative to because a lot of girls there will, you know, do stuff, and if you're American, you have you know a lot of money because if I understand here, the US dollar to peso conversion is like generously favored towards USA. So take from that whatever you want, but I do encourage you, obviously we keep saying stuff again, to read that. And then I forgot what he covered here about Scott and Katara, but it's nothing new, but I would encourage you to go read it though, obviously. From the Zero statement, there was a lot of pressure on, there was a rumor, or there was speculation via Jisu's statement, or that was kind of addressing Jisu's statement here, that Vanessa may have been physically abused by Zero during their relationship. I'm only bringing up what is accused here because Vanessa's statement is pretty much that she doesn't want to be involved in this drama because it's honestly it's stressful. The accusations are at Zero, not her, to keep her out of it, and that's why she deactivated her Twitter. Though prior to this point here, the speculation was that Zero went on her Twitter against her will and was blocking people who would be considered a threat, and or deactivated her Twitter, that way people could not scroll back to find more damning things. Keep in mind contextually here, like abandoning your Twitter or locking your Twitter are all different than deactivating your Twitter. When you deactivate, all of your tweets are no longer accessible. So you got that right there. So that's the statement there. I'll go ahead and link that for y'all there. And okay. Then we have so then Hungrybox came through and said that he wanted to be better and hold accountability. So he came clean on a couple of things, including some stuff I'd heard in the past, that he had cheated on his longtime girlfriend, which admittedly is not the same thing. I mean, while sure scummy and morally questionable here, not the same thing as sexual assault, pedophilia, rape accusations, whatever. So But yeah, he came clean about being overly flirty with already taken women in certain cases, as well as cheating on his girlfriend at that time. I'm only bringing up here what is now publicly available. I had heard about that, but I never really pushed on it because it wasn't really my business, I would think. So he came clean about that. However, and this is just speculation. I'm showing you a tweet here that I saw. According to this person here, who I believe she, Devon, delivered a Me Too statement via avatar for someone who didn't want to come forward and reveal their identity, but wanted to like bring light to a problematic situation earlier. Anyways, I recognize her name from Smash Me Too at this point. But she comments here that just heard 3 days ago from from a survivor of Hungry Box that her and the survivors are organizing to put their story out together at once. So let's prepare ourselves mentally for that to come out. So again, that was 3 days ago, though. I haven't heard anything about that since. So this could be a thing. Obviously, the speculation here could be that, he's trying to save face to beat the punch to getting exposed for certain things, which will kind of like curb the cancellation process or whatever here. So I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you what was being accused of here. You can easily read it both ways. But one would think it's not far-fetched to feel genuinely moved by the movement and want to be part of the positive change. And if you have things in your closet you want to get out here, own up to it yourself and come clean. However, obviously the problem here would be hypothetically is that if you only revealing select things that you're hoping to still like kind of like have your self-imposed punishment, that way you can still maintain the empire after the onslaught, essentially. So we got so there's all that right there. Again, I'm not saying he's doing that. I'm just telling you what is speculation. It's you can go to Smash Reddit and see the same shit there if you wanted to. So here's a link to that. So we go over there, got that. Okay. So that's just like, that is pretty much what has happened in the last 4 days as far as Smash stuff goes. Again, not to give like, I don't know what the word is here. I'm trying to like, it doesn't excite me to read those things, but all that definitely kept me up at night. And is not the best thing to read, obviously. Okay, so that happened, and then we have here, what is this? Okay, so all right, then we have, okay, then we're on this part here. So from there we have this section here is this is the Sky Williams section. So this is what this is what started a while back here. I don't know why I have this one here. It should be the other one here actually. But so Salem, who is who you may know is a really one of the top players in the Brawl era, was a really strong, I believe, Zero Suit Samus. I could be wrong though, honestly, but I'm pretty sure it was ESS. He released a statement saying that, with the whole like Nairo thing, that ultimately he never knew Nairo's age, and that Zach was always sad and depressed, and that when Zach and Nairo were together being affectionate, that Zach seemed happy, and he thought that Nairo was, around the same age or whatever, and that meant that, he didn't call out the age gap or anything like that because he thought they were the same age ultimately. That's pretty much what I read into this here, but he also said that he was sorry about that, and people called him out for like, well, why are you speaking so sexually, intimate sexual details to Zach, who was at the time 15. But ultimately that's kind of what the statement is there. I don't know enough about either of them to really have anything to say about it. I just kind of want to tell you that's what that happened. Today, I got around to watching the shit show that was the Sky statement stream, and good fucking lord, I don't even know what to even say about this shit here. It's a curse VOD. You really don't have to watch it. It is like man, okay, so ultimately Sky Williams got accused of a lot of things. Lying, manipulation, fostering an environment that allowed minors to be victimized. Literally a person got raped at his mansion and he didn't really do shit about it. So there's a lot going on there that he's being accused of, and he needs to address. And when he asked, I think I actually have it here. When he was asked about it, how to address it, we'll get to it. Point is, he did a stream. He chose to stream like himself addressing all these accusations, and it is an absolute shit show. That chat was hot garbage. This stream was garbage. This whole thing was stupid. It was like, I mean, you can see here, look, can you unmod me? Just saying I don't want to be listed as even associated with defending you. I've never seen this before here. It was insane. This is like this one. I'm blown away that VOD's still live right now, honestly. Yeah, it's ugh. So I tweeted that earlier, and then we have here this was the tweet that happened yesterday. I don't know, about a day and some change ago here now, but yeah, so Sky went live to talk about it, and it was just, it's, again, to address everything. I mean, we're talking about the Jisu master thread. We're talking about the he himself also being not the cleanest whatever in the whatever. But let's go move on here though. So in this thread, there's a whole bunch of shit. It essentially got ratioed here, right? And you gonna explain this or nah? So later on in here, there is a tweet longer that explains. Let's go back. Okay, let's go back. All right. So who's Sky? Sky is a prolific YouTuber who blew up from League of Legends. Remember, League came out in 2009, so like he blew up with League, making comedy videos, I think, or something like that. I'm not sure what he does at this point with it. Either way, though, he had that YouTuber money, and he buys or rents or leases a mansion, a extravagant, I believe, 10 to 20 bedroom mansion in SoCal, which he then used to invite people over and have them stay and pay rent or whatever. And that led to a lot of smashers using his mansion as a hub to come to SoCal. If you want to come to SoCal and you want to be out here for like, a couple months at a time here, you can crash at the Sky House and use that as you need. Is essentially what it came down to here. So understanding that here, whenever Sky is your landlord or whatever here, there is a group text, and he and this is explained in the tweet longer, I'm gonna get to later on here, that you have to let him know when guests are coming over, and when you break his rules, it gets bad. So there's this group text excerpt right here, where Sky says, I'm not going to name names at all. I will keep this vague. If people therein would like to confess, I don't mind. My goal isn't about any individuals. I saw a guest today, a guest I was not warned about in any facet of media with no receipts. So somebody came over, nobody told them about it. Between the hours of 6 and 10 a.m., I will be breaking something of value in each of your rooms. So as I had clearly instructed from the house meeting, or I can get $350 cash, no PayPal, on my desk to me before 6 a.m. This is final. There's no exceptions. Hide your valuable things if you must, but I'll find a way. Best luck to you all. I'll be here waiting. There should not be any questions, as my words are direct and clear. Nobody's exempt, not even people who pay rent. You may physically stop me, but if I feel like I can't beat you in a fight, I will just call police and have you escorted away. And I'm sure that I'm not kidding. Anyway, 6 a.m., 350. Good luck. So yeah, that is pretty sus. So there's that. Again, remember, I don't know Sky really that well at all, honestly. I've only met him once, and it was like for like 5 minutes at TwitchCon 2019. So I'm very, 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 very new to following him. FYI here, just some context. But I've always heard a lot about the Sky Mansion, like a lot. So I've never been there. I haven't seen any pictures of it. I don't know shit. I'm just kind of like showing you what I've read. Again, I'm just recapping for you what I've consumed so far on twitter.com in the last 4 days, and you can kind of go from there with it. So here's that. And then we have a clip here about Rip the Prince Etika, who had some things to say about Sky.
I'm not dealing with dumb shit anymore. Rip the people out. Like, it was never any. Not that I don't appreciate what he did, but dude is way out of his lane. He's a fake friend, and you can tell that he kind of fakes that shit because Sky goes to every other big profile that's on Twitter, and he just goes and tries to ride their coattail and try to suck dick and try to make it seem like he's all about them. Like, he jumps. Don't you guys see it yourself? Sky Williams, motherfucking, he's a whore for attention. He's a fucking it's obvious. And everybody knows it. Everybody who's close to me that's actually a friend of mine, who I won't even name, knows that shit. So, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm not dealing with bullshit anymore. I'm not dealing with dumb shit anymore, man. I'm telling niggas the fucking facts, man. Shut the fuck up. The people out. Like, it was never any. Like,
yeah, and this
appreciate
is
what
now,
he did, but dude
I want to say here that I do agree with Etika here. I don't know Sky, but I have seen Sky insert himself into so many drama threads that I'm just like, that I just thought, okay, well, maybe his childhood, maybe like his parents argued a lot or something like that. And maybe having conflict and messy gossip is his normal, like a calm and peaceful climate may be foreign to Sky. And he craves that systematic chaos by comparison. You know, I know people who are like that, and I don't hold it maybe against them because maybe they're a victim of his environment, possibly. But, you know, Etika may know a lot more about it than I do. So I'm just like, okay, well, what he said so far here is not wrong. He's certainly a whore for attention. So that is what it is. So here's that. Moving on from that one there, that gym right there. I found this one really weird. So Puppy, as you all know here, our boy, damn, I would have went to his house if I wasn't already at the airport at main stage. So main stage was that one tournament. I think that was ran by BTS, right? If I'm recalling correctly. I don't know what dates these are, if this is like recently or not. I assume so. I forget how Twitter dates it, honestly. Puppy, please talk to me. These are all the games. Puppy, please talk to me. I just woke up. Man, I'm looking at our first message. Do you know why I wanted to play you? In my house, I was told you want something explosive, and I'm like, fuck this. Never PT sucks. Hit you up and all polite and nice. Just want you to give me a chance just to talk to you. Things are dark right now, but let me at least hide with you. We don't have to do anything but just exist and be miserable together. Oh man, Puppy, I'll be right here all day for you. So, I don't quite get what's like, why, like, I don't know. I didn't understand from this context alone here what was going on here. Like, is Sky trying to lure Puppy to his mansion? I didn't get when this actually happened. Was this weekend? I'm not quite sure, but it seems creepy. I don't know. I don't even know, like, I don't know what Puppy considers this as, if this was like, but yeah, it's super weird and kind of just rubbing me the wrong way here. So, yeah, whatever. So yeah, that's a thing. Then we have here, in case you haven't watched the Sky statement stream, again, it's a huge shit show. I wouldn't encourage it. Here's a good call out about the whole thing here. Ads on 35 minutes to start. Self-victimization the whole way through, dude. It's like it's like non-apology 101 here. It was sub-only mode, but that was done by like rogue mods and shit because chat was actually like completely out of control. So much bullshit. You could have wrote this down. Yeah, there was like a lot going on here. There was like, ultimately, a concise Twitter statement would have been more effective to address all these accusations. Instead, it was like this like long, rambly, like kind of like gish gallop of like a fuck ton of information, but not all of it topical to the accusations at hand here. Just kind of like explaining like how the house worked and stuff like that. And it was just kind of like hard to keep up with like really where he was going with it. It was stupid. You really didn't miss much there. Posting this video live stream doesn't change that you harbored minors in your house that got abused. So yeah, that's a pretty stern thing to get to right here. Yeah, just it was stupid. Then we have one that I did enjoy here. Etika talks about trust and character. Really, really good right here, y'all.
Like, here's something that I can tell you guys right now. You can be the most despicable person, literally, filth of the earth, complete just garbage. You can be the worst human being and have millions of followers on YouTube, Insta, Twitter. Your following has nothing to do with your content of character. You can be a fucking asshole, and we've seen this played over. You can be even something evil like a fucking child molester and have millions of followers. None of that justifies you as a person, all right? So let's get that whole idea out of the way. I've preached this before to you niggas. Don't trust nobody. That's a horrible lesson to teach too, because it like teaches you to just completely disregard people and to like make it seem as if the world is against you. The world's not against you, of course, but don't trust niggas. I always tell you, don't trust me, nigga. What if you looked into my background and you found out I fucking threw a kid out of a window on some Michael Jackson shit? Guess what? If that was exposed on the internet, you'd be like, fuck Etika. Y'all niggas always be rallying behind me. Yeah, Etika, all this and that. You don't know me, nigga. What if I did some fucked up shit? You have no idea. Don't trust me. Don't trust yourself, nigga. Don't trust yourself. Fuck, you know that picture where the nigga got the gun? The nigga got the gun and he's pointing a gun at himself. Don't trust anybody, not even you. You don't know what you'll do. You don't know what's gonna happen. God damn it. Real shit, man.
Yeah, so very accurate there, obviously here. You know, there's often this like kind of like God complex when it comes to like influencers and those you admire, where like an anonymous audience will assume the best out of every person they admire. So like whatever you don't know about me, for example, you just assume that I have like a good take or a reasonable take about certain things until proven otherwise. Likable until proven unlikable, kind of. And that kind of can apply to a greater good, into a greater context here of like trust and character. And yeah, it's a pretty good thing to get to here, but it's also topical right now because like, you know, you're seeing a lot of people where we thought we could trust them, but then we couldn't. So here's that too, and that's also the official Etika Memories thing. I should probably follow that account, honestly. But yeah, Etika Memories Twitter, which is really, really good. Next here we got all right, so Kave, she said in response to the Sky Williams stuff, the stream itself here. And I'm sorry, there's a lot here because really that was like such a super shit show, I have to say here. This is a sick joke, an ad-enabled, monetized, sub-only live stream with a self-victimizing narrative. What a filthy fucking spectacle. You know what you're doing with this, especially after your first live statement. I told you this isn't good enough. How dare you? And the thing here about Twitter.com is like, there's only one rule on Twitter, y'all, as I brought up here earlier. The only rule here is don't delete tweets. And the thing here is that Sky asked earlier, please tell me what the best method is and I will not sleep until it's done. My receipts are solid and my information is genuinely on point. Just help me get this to you and I'm yours. He asks, would y'all like this delivered via video, via a twit longer statement, or a live stream? 88% said not live stream. And then when live stream lost because this couldn't be, you know, the narrative here is that because it couldn't be monetized, obviously, that then, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna delete this thread and do the live stream anyway here. So take of that whatever you want, but yeah, though this was deleted. These are the facts. She did screen cap it. There you go. So you can ask Sky Williams why this tweet was deleted and why he chose a live stream over any other way better medium than that. So from there we have here, this is as of this morning. I'm kind of covering the whole Sky Williams stuff here. Sky Williams owes this guy $55,000, this guy $10,000, this guy $13,600, owes $360,000, I believe most of that to the IRS at some point. I'm sorry, over $300K to the IRS. Owes this guy $14,000. Yeah, it's just like, oh man. I don't know if that surprises y'all or not, but yeah, y'all can hop in here and just like look at it. Particularly the one here about the owing $55,000. That one was the first one that came out about Sky owing people money. So here is this thread here was like something crazy. Now this thread is insane because Samuel's son is admitting here that how Sky was able to finesse him out of $55,000 was that Sky pretty much told him that Sky's parent had cancer and he needed the money on a short notice to treat that parent with the cancer with like chemo or whatever. But it was later found out that not only was the money not spent on the chemo or whatever cancer treatments were initially in the plea for financial assistance here, but also that Sky's parents never actually had cancer. The whole thing was a lie. And now also here, now I don't recall this was like a tweet or not here, but also allegedly that he spent the money on like penis cosmetic surgery. I don't know, just so I don't know. I would highly encourage you to read this one here. This one, there's a reason why it's got a lot of likes here. It's pretty dude, it's just I don't know. Like you look at it and you want to. It's lying about cancer for manipulation, and I don't know. It's ugh. Okay. Well, anyways, yes, yeah, that happened. That's super gross. All right, so yeah, that okay. I guess I had to open with the individual here. I'm not retweeting as a sign of support or to condone his behavior. I'm tweeting this out of visibility because I'm supposedly going to be addressed towards the end. Oh, this is before the stream went offline, by the way. Also, by the way, here the Sky Williams stream, it got interrupted because apparently someone at the Sky Mansion like was disgusted by the stream and what it was becoming, the self-victimizing non-apology of a marathon while being monetized to hell and back. That somebody like yoinked out the router and then like took off with it, so there was no router there for him to be able to stream anymore. So the person who owed $55,000 took the router since he was there. Oh, there you go. Okay, cool. Towards the end, Sky's owed me $10,000 for 2 years after promising to pay me back in 8 months, then proceeded to keep asking for more. So yeah, here's that thread. Next, it's funny how much Sky's name keeps popping up in recent Smash Players allegations, since the most memorable thing about Sky for me is that 2 years later he still owes me $13.6 thousand. By everything I've messaged about and confirmed so far, it's at the moment it's about $360,000 in a 5-year span. Noticing a pattern, by the way. Here we have a he apparently admitted to being $300,000 in the hole in 2017. And there's a timestamp here if you want to see that and look at it yourself here. Apparently a lot of people are saying that Sky owes them money. You can add my name to the list. He owes me $3,000. I lent it to him in 2017 and received several promises it was coming soon. Sky owes me about $1,000, Mr. R. But I think it's pretty safe to say that I'm never getting that money back, Lamau. Join the club, so that implying that Void also is owed money. And then we have here F Stamp Jun, $14,000 of my near-death car accident settlement money. Tons of mental abuse on top of that. I feel it's better for my mental health to not talk about it. I was his friend before he kept going down this dark path. He used to be a much better person. Damn, dude. Yeah, we are. Notice here we're still in the sky here. This is like shit, dude. Fuck. Jeez. Okay, and then here's the there's the Mr. R tweet. And then we have here here's a story from my best friend who was sexually assaulted by Sky Williams. It took months, if not years, for him to even realize that he was assaulted that night. I was the friend that gave him Sky's number, and I still feel at fault for facilitating it. So yeah, this is a short story here, but ultimately, this guy was a fan of Sky, met Sky at an anime convention, Fanime or FanimeCon 2015, and was kind of like, you know, starstruck, and ultimately I think Sky asked for a kiss. They went down like a certain abandoned alleyway in the convention center. Sky then decided to take him to his hotel room anyway, even though he didn't want to go to the hotel, he wanted to go in an alleyway, would be a little more visible and more safe. And from there, Sky masturbates in his presence. The guy gets weirded out and like leaves, or I don't know. I don't know. It's I don't know, dude. I don't even want to talk about it again. It's so weird, dude. All right. Anyways, you can read it if you want to. This is weird. All right. Anyways, some notes on how Sky Williams' house worked. So yeah, there's a lot to hop into here, but yeah, I would encourage you to read it. I kind of forgot now. I'm a little bit fuzzy on it, but yeah, Sky Williams' like hierarchy of the house is kind of a shit show, obviously. So you can check here and read this. And there's also a second-hand account talking about the Sky house and the fiasco that whole thing was as well here. So I'll encourage you to look at that there. So yeah, there's a lot there. So yeah, Sky got accused of a lot of things in Jisu's mega statement. He addressed pretty much none of them in his live stream fiasco. He owes a lot of people money. I'm sorry, it's just like, ugh, man, he owes a lot of people money. He has at least one accusation of sexual weirdness. I mean, the lying should tell you a lot, though. I mean, there's a lot going on here. So I don't know, dude. It's fucked. It's really fucked. So we'll see where that goes. He's been silent since then. I will say again, I don't know him at all. I met him at TwitchCon 2019 for like a couple of minutes, and my impression was that he's got quite the ego, but he did follow me back on not that that's really relevant here. And but I was inclined to get to know him better because I feel like a lot of smashers knew him and I didn't know him, so I felt like it was kind of like I would like to get to know more about him, just so I could better be in the know of like where Smash is currently heading and all that. So yeah, so okay, well, with that is that string of tweet stuff that I saw there. I think I'm forgetting stuff here. There's a hang on. All right, I got that one. So here are a bunch of other tweets that are not specific to anybody I know, but they're all like things I've consumed over my time where maybe I was reading through them and trying to better understand the situation, stuff like that. So again, I'm not trying to do the whole like drama recap here, but because again, I've brought my insight to what I do know so far. It's just like things I saw that if you want to be in the know about how the Smash scene is like getting better, this is what happened or whatever. So HBox said that I've had individuals reach out to me privately to constructively discuss experiences I've referenced in my previous video, the confession video. I'm glad I can continue having these conversations. I'm here to listen, learn, and improve, and I think having more perspective is never a bad thing. So an open call to or the admitted has reached out to individuals in the past who's privately talked to or whatever and stuff like that. I don't know what will come of this honestly here, but you know, we'll see. Then we have my experience with Sherwood Red. Sherwood is a YouTuber who, man, pretty much was a real sleazeball to his girlfriend, but I mean, did some pretty fucked up shit to say the least here. And he did admit that he needs help and he feels terrible about what he did. So there is the admittance of that guilt. So there's that one right there. Yeah. Also, I don't know anything about him, but apparently he follows me. But he did include a statement, which I'll go ahead and link here. A statement, or I'm sorry, that's not even the one. A statement in a video here about like, kind of showing a potential of self-harm based off of how terrible he felt about coming to the admittance of what he did. So you can look into kind of seeing at least, you know, an example of somebody owning up to what they did and kind of going from there. But yeah, I believe he's going to seek help and try to repair himself and, you know, all that stuff right there here. So okay, so from that we have A Smash player abused my friend for 2 years. I don't think I. So again, these are ones that I've been meaning to get around to reading that I have not yet read. So I'm just throwing you what I saw floating around on my timeline. You can read it there and get more into it. There are a oh, this is the one I read earlier here actually. There's a couple here about Turtle SSB. And then here's a second one talking about Turtle SSB. This one was the one that really that really fucked me up here. This one, oh man. So I don't know who Turtle SSB is, but like he's clearly garbage here because he has multiple accusations from different people and essentially, oh dude, it's so gross. Turtle pretty much threatened to ejaculate raw inside of this girl during intercourse, and the girl had to like essentially enter a dissociative state to be able to endure such a act that she did not want to engage in. It's just dude, it's gross. I don't know, this guy is garbage here. I hope this guy like really has to deal with that more often. I don't know the status. I don't know who this person is and all that, but when I read that, I was like, dude, this is so fucking gross, dude. Ugh. So if anyone has updates on that one there, I'd love to know, because like that is like, ugh. And then we have here one on a I don't know if it's like a Mexican Smash player or not here. I haven't read this one yet, but there's that one right there. Again, it's a lot, and we'll get into why I haven't read all these yet. I was sexually assaulted by a Vermont melee player. This one's noteworthy because it was actually a it was, if I understand correctly, Pearl is not an active Smash scene person. More that she just happens to know a person. She happens to know. She happened to have been assaulted by a person who was now in that melee scene. So. Check that one right there if you want to. Okay, so then we have here a letter to the Vegas Smash scene, which includes like one person's observations of like of problems within the Vegas Smash community, rumors, known problematic people, and kind of wanting to like get everyone on the initiative of being proactive rather than reactive. These are the things that we have right now that I feel are kind of hovering. Let's talk about making things better, making things safer, and all that good stuff there. So it's a feel good comment. I encourage you to check it out here, because if every scene was kind of like coming forward and doing things like this, that would be better. I do believe that New York Smash has already banned all the problematic people that they have been they've determined as such so far here. So seeing more communities that are doing things like Vegas and New York would be really good. So this is a feel good one here. That's a try GG. And then this is for today, and I have some thoughts on this one here. So me and TK go back a little bit. I know TK pretty well. And so an anonymous person came forward here and said that pretty much years ago, TK staying over at TK's place. Sorry, my dog barked. Staying over at TK's place, that his hand had reached over her crotch and she had shoved it away and felt gross about it, and that was pretty much it. So it's a anonymous accusation that is not specific in any kind of context of time, and doesn't have any receipts, or I don't want to say proof, just like, something to make it more like tangible here. It's a problematically vague, anonymous accusation that you kind of really can't take and go anywhere with. So to me, it's kind of hit a red flag here, and I'm glad that TK doesn't deny it, but it's also like, I don't recall, because there's so little to grasp onto here that it's like, it's problematic in that, it could literally be a troll feeding a genuine person who's feeding it out as a source, So I find this is like, there's so little to grasp onto here. Like, and you don't have to reveal yourself, obviously, if you know, if you're not feeling scared to come forward here, but it's like, man, you need a story that's more than just like 3 sentences of detail here, I would imagine. So from this right here, I mean, I guess we'll see. I'm mostly more like, I could understand TK's take here of like, you know, I encourage that person to come forward and provide more details. 'Cause I agree. I encourage the person to come forward and provide more details because it's kind of hard to even narrow down what may have happened here. Also, the perception of like what did happen. Was there a positive received interest in foreplay prior to the attempted crotch grab, hypothetically here? We don't know. And that's the thing is that it's so vague. There's nothing concrete to go with here, in my opinion. But that is just my opinion, and a more detailed statement would go a long way towards kind of like hearing the other side here, or even like kind of pushing this accusation further, I would think. So that, if that's a hot take for y'all, then I'm sorry. That's just honestly me giving my real take there. From that one we have here, before the pitchforks come out, I literally have no idea of this event happening. I just know nothing is impossible, and I'm not going to tell y'all they lying, but at the same time, I can't just stand here and act like I'm guilty of this very vague and anonymous tip, which, yeah, exactly how I was feeling about it before when I first saw it come to light here earlier today. So there's that right there. I don't, now obviously here, this all happened hours ago. I don't know if there's updates since then. I prefer not to like really commentate on like live events. It's more like what I perceived as of that time. So again, anonymous and vague equals like just not much tangibly there, you know. Okay, so I'm finally coming out with my experience of being a victim of pedophilia within the Smash community, specifically with the player Agent Paper. So yeah, pretty weird, champ. So here's that. I haven't looked into it here. Again, it's another one I've been meaning to read later on when I get more time. There's this really yeah, okay, so in case you need more evidence of versus DJ Nintendo and the Moon. Yeah, there's just like really oh boy.
Yo, hey, also guys, you see that girl that's playing right now? Oh my gosh, she is scrumptious.
Yeah, super scrumps, man. Look at this guy chain grabbing her, yo. Stop to get in
I
there.
just want to treat her right, yo.
I know. I feel the same way. Treat her right, man.
Teresa.
She ain't got to worry about no whack-ass boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, just So there's that. You can take that and yeah, but yeah, I think at this point now it's kind of like where we are right now is like DJ Nintendo has like something like 8 accusations to like contest right now, so it's looking pretty bad for him, honestly. And then the Moon also has like a similar I believe he has 2 accusations I know of right now, but generally was also involved the whole like Mexico thing, if I recall correctly. So about my abuser Mikey Fam, aka crack porn, which contain I don't think I read this one either, but I mean, yeah, so there's this one here, and then we have here oh yeah, and then so sexual misconduct from an Evo tournament official. I haven't read these yet, but yeah, so there are those 2 right there. All right, so that's all that stuff there. So so far this is all the things that I have consumed, minus hang on, grabbing it real quick here, minus what happened recently here. So this is where things will slow down a little bit more, because this is where I currently am. So you may have heard me, you may have not heard here that there was a rape accusation that came forward that happened 6 years ago at Summer Games Dunkirk 2014. So this one hit me personally because it's like you know, it's in my backyard, it's in speedrunning. It involves a lot of people that I know personally, and I also was at Summer Games Dunkirk 2014. So this is this one's just a sad one, honestly. So ultimately in Deb's tweet longer. Oh, man, there's a lot to go into here. I encourage you to read it. I'm trying my best here to like kind of just tell you what happened, so I can tell you why I didn't stream yesterday, because there was kind of a lot going on here. So it's just really sad. So it's pretty fucked. I'll try my best here, but it's pretty gross. So Summer Games Done Quick 2014 was held in Denver, Colorado. This was, if I recall correctly, the only SGDQ that was held there. After this point, it moves over to the Midwest, and it's held in Minnesota. So I did go to 2014 SGDQ. When I was there, I believe I commentated Paper Mario with Al Malicious. That was in your door speed run along with Spike Vegeta. I believe I did something Yoshi Island there. It's hard because I remember AGDQ 2014, but I don't remember SGDQ 2014 that well. So it's kind of tough to say. But either way though, it was held in Colorado, and therefore it was in proximity near Utah. Deb and Sam were I don't know if they were Mormon or not, but they were religious heavy, and they were married young. She being 18, he being 19. They went to the GDQ, and due to their secluded lifestyle, by I guess religious boundaries or whatever, neither of them ever drank. And I'm just kind of recalling her story here. And so they hang out with Giant Waffle, Giant Waffle, Stivity Bobo, Scott J. Progrin, and Hyper Resonance. Is that his name correctly? And they were all Hyper Resonance. Yeah, correct. Brad. They were all hanging out together in a room. They're playing like, I don't know, drinking mini games involving Mario Party and or Mario Kart. And it's her first time drinking. She wanted to drink, but she only felt safe drinking because her husband was also there. Allegedly her husband left the room and never came back, though people didn't know that he was actually like leaving. But it is presumed that he left in disgust of the drinking that was happening there, because it was probably a violation of their personal conduct or principles or something like that. Again, because they're super religious, so I'm not quite exactly sure. But either way, like, he was gone, and then you had a bunch of like relatively intoxicated men all around this one female in the isolation of this hotel room at a GDQ during a 7-day long speedrun event. So what happened is that most people in that room made out with her, and that she was fingered by several people there. Again, her accusations. And she was raped. She had been visibly vomiting throughout the entire evening and was way too intoxicated to actually offer any kind of consent. And when she woke up the next morning, she felt terrible about it, and ultimately that led to the rupture in her marriage to Sam. Sam again left the entire event in disgust and left her there to figure out what to do to redeem herself at that point. To which she was kind of stranded at that GDQ that weekend. And yeah, it's kind of a shit show. So that's like the short version. You can probably, I would encourage you to read the whole thing if you want to, honestly, here. But this is like, the thing about this is relative to all of this is the fact that like, let me take a second here and tell you about like my perception of this here. GDQ is a big event. The venue in the hotel is also a big hotel. It's a 7-day long charity speedrun event, to which it's very, very easy to get to like kind of like stay up late and hang out with friends and kind of like play games to the early morning and ultimately like get on a really damaging nocturnal degenerate schedule. So it's very plausible to be on a trash schedule. Like I'm talking like going to bed like at 7 a.m. waking up at like 9 p.m. like some real horse shit here. Like you stay up for free breakfast buffet and then like, you know, go to sleep afterward. Like people were doing that. Like I did that, honestly. So I was not near any of this shit at all here. I am good friends with Scott J. Progrin out of all those people there. But I didn't know about any of this shit until after, because I wasn't that I had one a speedrun to do and commentary blocks to do, so I was actually prepared. I was prepared and occupied doing my content prep, so I wasn't really around for all this. And also, it's kind of hard to really like, know where to go for these parties. There's all these hotel room parties are all just in some random hotel room on some floor somewhere at some point. So it's not like I was really looking anyway, because I was busy, kicking with the homies, and throughout the entirety of the speedrun scene and all that. So, when I get back though was whenever I heard that, about the viral paste spin about Stivity Bobo. I'm sorry, I should mention here, by the way, Stivity Bobo's there too, by the way. That's the other person who was like super involved with this whole thing here. Sorry, I explained that one badly. Stivity Bobo was also a prolific Banjo-Kazooie speedrunner who ultimately, at the time, was had committed adultery with Deb, and that resulted in the rupture in the marriage. But let me continue on though. My perception of it was that, I saw the paste spin that of Stivity confessing to ruining a marriage and felt incredibly guilty about it. Felt bad for Sam, and it just felt like he, kind of like a trash human and a piece of shit ultimately about it. And I saw that paste spin, and I saw a lot of the ridicule that came at the expense of like, kind of want to say like, slut shaming Deb for being involved here and not doing better. She also allegedly had blamed herself for not doing better, but really it's just like, it's kind of just a really fucked situation. But yeah, I remember seeing the paste spin around and people were making light of it. I never like indulged in that kind of thing. I feel like I didn't know enough about it, because I don't really know Stivity Bobo that well. So but I know that had been like a meme that was kind of like lingering around for years. But it wasn't really my situation to get involved in or do anything about, because I wasn't even there. I don't know anything. It's like, I'm not really the private investigator to be here to like figure all that shit out. So that happened though. And it's sad because like, she comes forward as of yesterday and saying that, well, it was previously described as a rocky marriage between Deb and Sam, member 18 and 19, a rocky marriage she was unhappy with, and that what had occurred between her and Stivity Bobo was consensual sex, and it was just, regular adultery. It was not, this rape accusation of what it is now here. So the context has changed, and because of the victimization and the silencing and several paste spins back and forth between like what was the initial apology to Sam paste spin by Stivity into a disclose everything, here's what really happened, because there is a third paste spin that alleges that like how the night went, but it's full of like bullshit and lies according to Stiv. So Stiv came clean to explain like what actually happened and all that stuff right there. So there's like three paste spins of accounts of what happened that night. Two by Stiv, one by an anonymous person who claims to have been there for it. Stiv denies that anonymous person is being accurate at all here about the whole situation. But the entire time the narrative is that it was consensual and stuff like that. Comparatively, Deb's paste spin is saying that, that it was actually much less consentful than such, and it was like full on rape. So there's a lot to hop on here, but yeah, my involvement here is that I wanted to bring to light her accusation, because I know this has been a really bad thing. I know she's been through a lot. She has been through essentially 6 years of some combination of victimization, mental assault. I mean, just like, I'm thinking back about all the things I've seen about this whole like, Deb and Sam adultery thing. It's fucking terrible. It's the only thing I've really heard about like a GDQ having some of this happen, and it's like, I just can't believe it's still like, lingering and not conclusive over like who's at fault here, and giving her the needed closure to be able to move on. The fact that like I believe she has not like streamed in years, has not tweeted in years prior to coming out with this, is all showing that like, like it's been like kind of hanging over her shoulder as like a really ugly sore that needs to be like, resolved and kind of repaired and remedied so we can kind of move on with the situation here. So I had said here that it saddens me that such survivor speak outs are doing speedrunning as well. We got to do better here. I will tell y'all. So what happened yesterday was that whenever I saw this here, I felt gross. I felt terrible reading this here because I was like, man, I find it hard to believe that Giant Waffle would be like this. I am saddened to see that the actions of Stevie Bobo are still like, you know, causing pain 6 years later. But you know, that's kind of how this whole like assault thing does work here. The victims, these are wounds, and these wounds they're contextual, and they can go deep, and that does hurt most certainly, especially because I can literally recall like all the shit posting and all the toxicity that involved like you know, that event and not being taken as serious, I would imagine. So I continue on here that Scott constructed a very detailed statement that helps corroborate her account of events to help illustrate a timetable of events relative to the presence of GDQ. So I had read this, and she name drops Scott, you know, kissing Stiv, Waffle, Brad, and Scott. So I thought it was important. I called up Scott. Me and Scott are tight. Scott is a old school Star Fox 64 speedrunner who I was good friends with for a while. So obviously I wasn't there for any of this shit, and I actually didn't know that he was involved here. I only heard about because the Stivity Bobo pace spins only mentioned of the actions of him, not of anybody else. So I actually didn't know that Scott was involved at all until that pace spin. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, I call up Scott. I'm like, yo, Scott, what the fuck, dude? Like I'm angry because I'm like, dude, like I feel like I knew you, and you're like, why are you being lumped in here with rape and shit? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like are you that kind of person right now? And so, you know, he admits that yes, he did kiss her that night. He regrets it, obviously, because she was, in his opinion or in his assessment at this point here, that she was drunk and that she wasn't able to give consent, but that he was not there for any of the other stuff, and which she doesn't accuse him of. He wasn't there. He had already left the room before all that other stuff happened, and that you know, but that also that he can help corroborate her events as well, because her statement is not super specific on like what night of GDQ this happened, or like the timetable, or like, because obviously, because she was like, in her words here, she was you know, problematically drunk and vomiting in the restroom in various points here. So dizzy, disorientation, vomiting, just, you know, very, very drunk. So her recalling the events may not be the best. And so I was like, okay, well, look, man, if you believe her and you want to be an ally here, then I was like, hey, look, you should do a statement, full stop. Don't not do a statement, make a statement. And when you do, be as transparent as possible and be honest. Don't fuck with me. Don't lie to me, because you're only digging your own grave here. Let the truth set you free. Admit to what you did, and make a statement. And your statement, if you're being truthful, she's being truthful, will help corroborate for the events that she describes. And then from there, the onus will be on Stivity and Waffle to clarify or contest in their statements whether the things happen as they happen or not. So I encourage y'all to check out his pace spin if you want to hear. But here's this. So he made a statement and told him, you know, just kind of, but also told him, okay, really important too, I'm sorry. Also told him to make sure that, like, you know, before you call Stivity on any of this shit, keep in mind here right now that, in my opinion, it is best in your agenda to be as transparent as possible, but also as objective as possible. So if you call Stiv right now, you will only be like inclined to omit information or kind of like arrive at a biased conclusion of having Stiv be minimized of guilt. Again, I know you and Stiv are friends from way back when, but you know damn well that Deb has gone through a fuck ton of shit. So I'm telling you, as a friend, if you're gonna call Stiv, draft your statement first. The one that you're going to say that is going to be your maximum objectivity before you call Stiff. Calling Stiff going to do one thing at this point, which is like saturate and impurify your perspective of the events with information he's going to give you, which may not be accurate. Use what you remember and be as specific as possible to corroborate anything here. That's how you help the situation arrive at the proper conclusion. So I told him that. He did that. He thanked me for it. So he drafted his statement. Then he called Stiv, and then he released it shortly after without changing anything. So that's the statement right there. I continue on here that this one hits me personally because this was ridiculed as a meme for years at the toll of Dev's mental health. It spawned the shit stain of a subreddit that after that was it spawned the shit stain of a subreddit after that was nonstop toxic to anyone in the community. You know the one. Yeah, y'all know the one I'm talking about here. Open call to anyone who wants to, who may want to come forward through anonymity via myself. I'm more than happy to comply. My DMs are always open. I do hope that there isn't anything else, whether it was TwitchCon or a past GDQ, but offer my help however I can. Thank you. So yeah, that's that is the accusation as of right now. And yeah, I did reach out to Deb and you know, told her that I don't know. I had to like kind of just tell her I'm so sorry that like this is like this is fucked, man. This is like really like if you read her statement, it's like she blamed herself for so long and you know, ultimately kind of like just I feel like kind of like lost half a decade of her life over just this whole thing right here. Like it feels like really sad. So you can check out my quote there. You can check out the her statement here. You can check out Scott's statement there. And then from that we have here a so someone asked there's one bit of a discussion event safety that I felt was worth its own tweet. As it is now, hotel room parties are a large problem at GDQs. Could GDQ have a dedicated late night party space to keep things out of hotel rooms? Much easier to monitor safety that way. To which I clarified, and this is just my take here. I'm not saying that my take is the only way to solve this problem or that my take is the only correct take or things like that, right? I'm just kind of throwing out what is my opinion of the situation here. And the thing is about it is that like, well, first I'll read here first. In theory, the hotel room parties would be less frequent. Again, the hotel room parties are kind of like the unmonitored consumption of booze, possibly mixing minors with like adults, yada, yada, yada. It's kind of the wild, wild west really because like of what GDQ's become now. But again, I'm not trashing on GDQ. I'm just clarifying as someone who's been to 7 or more of these things now. I know what it's gotten to at this point. Though I admittedly haven't been in the last 2 years. In theory, the hotel room parties would be less frequent if the event had more pro-attendee activities to do, which I clarify here. I think creating safe spaces that make hotel room parties look like shit by comparison is the way to go. As in, you know, the hotel room parties happen and the consumption of alcohol happens because of the lack of things to do in this one massive gathering of attendees. So if like you think of it that way here, how do you give incentive to an anonymous body of people to not do a certain thing? You provide a competition to make it better. So a formal area where alcohol is served, controlled, monitored, and most importantly contained. The idea in theory here is that alcohol is banned everywhere else venue wise, relative to the best of your ability, obviously here. Like, you know, if you're still gonna have GDQs at hotels here, then clearly you can't like really monitor what happens in the hotel rooms, obviously. But at the same time here, like, you know, if you had a dedicated space for mingling with alcohol, I would think that if it was accessible enough here that people would be less inclined to like make their own alcohol mingle area within their own hotel rooms. And instead they would just use the actual dedicated area if it was like, you know, lit enough, hypothetically here. It wouldn't completely rid the problem, but I continue on here that I say all this in favor of any full-on prohibition methods because it'll just continue to result in hotel room parties. Now, low-key, regardless. So you have to outdo the competition and the convenience for this to realistically apply. Though I can clarify, I've been to GDQ since 2018, so maybe things have changed logistically for the better since. I'd love to hear any insight into this here. So yeah, I go into that. It's one idea, but really, like, the other thing here too is that if GDQ moved towards a convention rather than being at a hotel, like a convention center, like renting out maybe like a third of a convention center lobby or whatever, then, like, you know, then you can regulate the flow of what happens relative to the event. And what would happen at those hotels that are not on site have nothing to do with the liability of GDQ's safety comparatively. And that would probably lead to a safer event overall, in my opinion. But that is just one man's take, and obviously I'm not even going into the logistics of that, which is a whole different situation. So take all that and go with that if you want to here. But that is but yeah, I called a lot of people. You know, I called several speedrunners yesterday, like phone call, because I was like, I talked to Scott for a very long time about it to make sure he got a statement out and all that. And I was kind of just like trying to recall, like, you know, SGDQ 2014 to the best of my ability, because it was like, you know, is there anything here I could have added to help corroborate statements and all that? And unfortunately, I will say here that I don't recall. It's hard to recall, honestly. I remember AGDQ 2014 really well. Summer Games done for 2014, I don't remember that well at all, unfortunately. So that is so there you go. That all of that, the Sky Williams, the updates on Zero and company since 4 days ago, all the new accusations, and then this Summer Games Done Quick stuff here. These are all like the things that have been keeping me up for now. Really stressful, really terrible. I'm hoping that things like kind of like calm down here. I hope I'm obviously, you know, thankful that people are coming forward, and I'm also thankful that, you know, the scenes that I partake in, Smash and speedrunning, are getting the filth cleaned out here. We kind of go on from there. For now, we're all awaiting. I'm hoping that we're all awaiting a Giant Waffle statement, you know, because maybe he has a different assessment of the whole thing here right now, obviously, or Stivy Bobo statement and things like that. So we will see where those go. I'm just like, y'all, I'm taking a day at a time here. I'm just kind of like, I feel really bad because, like, man, you know, I feel like we can do better. I can do better, and we all can do better. And just seeing all that there, it's just like, I don't know, dude, just fucked. Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. I would rather, because I know right now it's like, you know, I can get like clip chumped, and I've actually, like, I prepared really hard in the regard of like being able to recap what is topically relevant, rather than like, you know, because if I don't want to come off as like perpetuating gossip hour or any of that here. I just kind of want to tell y'all like where I've been mentally. I'm trying to be part of the solution, and like, I don't know, it hit me a lot. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I was like really distraught because I was like, man, fuck, dude. Like, literally the whole Salmon Toki subreddit, it's so fucking toxic, dude. I remember hating to read that fucking thing, dude. It was so gross. Dude, that Reddit is such shit, and that's why I feel for this. I feel for Deb, honestly. I feel for her because like that Reddit is so awful that I stopped reading it. I couldn't take it anymore. It honestly made me want to stop streaming, if I'm being real here. But it's not about me right now. I will tell y'all more about what that Reddit did to me mentally on a later day. But I know if it did that to me for no reason other than petty jealousy, speculation, and haterade, I can only imagine the toxic spewing horseshit that Deb had to go through for years. And I'm just like, that girl needs all the support she can get right now. So, you know, fuck, dude, that is just like, it's gross. I am hoping, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it hit me really hard because it was like, you know, it's like Scott J. Progan, Giant Waffle, speedrunning at a GDQ that I attended, like all that right there. And it's like, fuck, dude, this is like in my backyard with people I know, people I thought I knew really well. And it's like, fuck, man. So I had to, you know, I made some phone calls and talked to everybody about it, and just kind of like, you know, what can I do? What should I do? And I made sure to thoroughly go through everything to the best of my ability before I tweeted anything out, because, you know, I don't want to, the last thing I want to do, and the one thing I'm never a fan of here, is like the impulsive, emotional, you know, let me just hop on the side of the damaged, right? You know, because you got to be thorough here. You got to be thorough. You can't be impulsive. You should just like, you know, there's definitely, like, for example here, right? Okay, I'm sorry. Here's another part that I cannot stand about this whole like Twitter court thing when it comes to the whole thing, is like certain people release statements. Namely, I'll say Zero, and this is not a fault of Zero particularly here, but like Zero released a statement, and it was like a pretty lengthy one, the second statement that is, and people were already replying, I support you, I believe you, I love you, get him Zero, stay strong, you got this. Like, there was no way that they had read the statement prior to tweeting out. They just like, oh, it's out, I'm team Zero, I'm team bias, and I'm just gonna fart my support out into the wild ocean. And it's just it's so stupid, dude. It's like, do y'all have a brain? Do y'all function? Do y'all think? Do you use critical thinking? Are you able to compute stuff? It's just, dude, it's so weird, champ, like y'all are saying right now. So I will read this, and I will and we'll talk about it further on my Discord for now. But yeah, I would prefer to not impulsively read things on stream to contribute towards any kind of like biased narrative right now, especially for something as important as Deb's stuff here. So I encourage you to read it and make your own critical assessment here, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow. The good news is that I am doing better now. I was really fucking down and really sad about just all the victims, about all this shit, and I found it really hard to like get in a streaming mood, because it was like, okay, well, why am I late today? I'm late because I was on Twitter reading all these things, and it's like I kind of have to like talk about like what they mean to me, and like what I can do, what we can do better to like make the scene safer for people and stuff like that, you know. And man, it's just like I really want to tell y'all more about like what that subreddit did to me here, but I'm going to save that for whenever it is a better time to do so, because I don't want to make it about me this current time. But do know that, like, man, like, it was like reading through the Deb and Sam situation from Summer Games Done Quick. It reminded me of like things I forgot I even dealt with at that time, dude. It is just, I do think I'm in a better spot, a much better spot, with a way stronger support system than I was then. But holy fuck, when I show some receipts on like the shit I dealt with at that time, it may shock you, honestly. But for now, though, let's focus on Deb. Let's focus on supporting the victims. Let's focus on being objective here, not being a fanboy, and not using our brains and having critical thinking to assess situations. Things are complicated. There are accusations. There are corroborations. There are, in some cases, it's going to be a lack of receipts in a he said versus she said situation. And there's a lot to go over and determine relative to our own personal assessment of the merit of the character of those who were involved, as well as like, well, really, what do we want out of our scenes here? The last thing I want to see is anyone say that that like Smash is like a bunch of pedos and rapists and it's all beyond redemption, and fuck it and burn it to the ground, because then I feel like then the whole thing's been failed and it was all fucked. I also think that if people think that speed running charity marathons are unsafe, that's also bad and doesn't help anyone else here either. So I also do personally sympathize a lot with Deb, because like I know some of the things that she had to go through, and for her it's a lot more, for years, and I just really hope that like she's able to like get closure. To me, it's like the goal here is that like as of right now, Deb doesn't stream. Deb had planned to return to streaming, if I recall correctly, in 2017, but was kind of like harassed and ridiculed because of the whole situation, and ultimately exited streaming as a whole, much less the speedrun scene. So, and that's just like, I don't know, that just feels like a really, really, really sad, a really sad reality. So I'd like to say that to me, success would be at least her able to, like, if she wants to, yeah, try returning to streaming, if that's what she still desires, and being able to feel welcomed in the scene as a whole. That would be really nice. You know, I also like to see no threats of self-harm from anybody involved here, in case anyone that is determined to be guilty or, you know, admits to it. So we'll see. We're taking a day at a time. There's a lot going on here. It is mentally heavy. It's a lot heavier than I wish it would. I wish it was right now here. But I will tell y'all I'm doing better now. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for enjoying Smash with me. Thank you for listening to all this stuff here.